Hey guys, thanks so much for checking us out. We're doing our community group devotion and discussion questions. We figured that the best way for us to grow in our relationship with Jesus Christ and our relationship with one another is to get in the Word of God together, tease it out, see what it says, and find encouragement for each of us. So tonight, we're looking at a really short portion of Acts. This is Acts 6, verses 1 to 7. I'm only going to read verse 1. I'd love for you to read verses 1 to 7 to get the entire context of the story. But we're looking at something really unique in this setting. So if you'd like to follow along, I will read verse 1 right now. It says, "In those days, when the number of disciples was increasing, the Grecian Jews among them complained against the Hebraic Jews because their widows were being overlooked in the daily distribution of food." So what we're seeing is the first fight that happens in church history. So far in the first few chapters of Acts, we're seeing fights against the church. We're seeing things from the outside putting pressure on the people inside the church. But now people are fighting inside. And we've all seen this. We've all maybe been too close to this, and we know we don't want this at all. In this first fight, what's happening is that Jewish widows who speak Greek, because they've kind of moved outside of Jerusalem in that Palestine geographical area to another part of the known world. They've come into the church, they've settled in, but they don't speak Hebrew. So we're really seeing division over prejudices, over racism, even though the race is the same race. They're all Jewish. They just speak a different language because they lived in a different location. Now, the Hebrew widows, the women that speak Hebrew, they're being served food so that they can live. The women that speak Greek, they're being skipped on the days that they're supposed to be served. And now it's creating great tension. The book of Acts deals with a lot of race stuff, and obviously in our current climate, we're dealing with race stuff. One of the beautiful things we see the gospel do is unify people from diverse cultures, diverse belief systems. Like the gospel can really bring people together. And in this situation, what we see the apostles do is to bring unity and to defeat division, is to ask other people to step up and start serving each other. So this is what we're going to see. The apostles know we can't serve tables. We're the ones praying and preaching the word of God. Like we got a really big gig given to us by God. And it's not that it's more important than serving tables at some level. Any type of service to God's people matters deeply to our Father in heaven. They just know they've seen the church go to a couple thousand people, and there's 12 people that are doing the preaching and teaching. They can't love everyone and be involved in all the needs in the day-to-day stuff. They need people to buy in. And that's exactly what they got. 7 individuals step up and they say, you know what? We're going to take care of these widows. We're going to put systems in place so that no one is going to be missed. Everyone is going to be served. There's not going to be a division over language. There's not going to be a division over race. Everyone will be treated with the dignity and the love that they deserve as being God's creation itself. It's a really, really big moment. So how does this play into our church culture? Great Exchange, COVID 2020. 3 months ago, before we shut things down at the church, the elders were talking about, hey, we got to go to 2 services. We got to fit more seats. The classrooms are getting packed. There's a lot of families that are coming and calling this church home, and we need more space. So for me, as someone that gets paid to be a pastor here, I'm looking at 75 adults, and I'm like, oh man, I'm getting to a place where I can't know everybody. Or at least I can't know everybody personally. And if I try to, because that's my natural desire, is to know everyone, be friends with everybody, I'm going to feel burnt and frustrated. And I started to feel that. COVID did some crazy stuff in my life. And so what I've realized is that we need to invite people to serve, to step up, to own stuff, and to love people in our congregation. And that's why we're doing groups the way we are, so that we can put pockets of people together that can serve each other and care for each other and be there for each other when others can't, because there's just too much going on. So we really feel if people serve, we're going to be more unified than ever before. That serving one another has the ability to increase unity and destroy division. And so we're asking, I'm looking at whoever's watching, will you please serve God and his people in this local concept? Now, we're hoping each and every one of us says, God's Spirit is in me as a child of God. God has given me gifts in natural talents to give and serve the people he has brought into our lives. So we can either get bottlenecked right now and get to a point where a handful of people are doing a lot of work, or we can distribute and we can see God bless each of his people as people give and as people receive. So that's what we're looking to have happen. There's this quote by Tim Keller. He put it on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and it goes like this. He says, there are some needs only you can see. And there are some hands that only you can hold. And there are some people only you can reach. We want each and every one of us that love Christ to serve him and serve his church. And as we see servanthood happen, we are going to see God's Spirit bring us closer together than ever before. So will you serve? Will you step up? Will you get involved? Will you be part of the team? We want this. Let's kick around some reflection, discussion questions. Question number one. How does hearing the story of Jesus help us want to serve each other? Remember what the apostles said. We got to keep preaching. We got to keep proclaiming. Because what are we proclaiming? Jesus is the greatest servant ever. So how does hearing about his life motivate us to want to help others? Number two, this is based on your personal history. What has been your favorite service opportunity? It could be in church, it could be outside of church, it could be your job, but what is something that you've been able to do, or an area you've been able to give, and you've just felt so satisfied and so fulfilled from doing that? Number three, another personal one. What gifts has God given you? Like, what are your desires? What are your drives? What are your talents? What are your skills? And how can you use those skills to serve others? Number four, let's kind of reverse the situation. Can we think of a time that God has blessed us through someone else serving us? So for me, what is a time that someone blessed my world? Whether through conversation, whether through helping me with something, whether through being there when I had a desperate physical, emotional, mental need. Can we think of a time that we've been blessed and share that story? And then five, as we transition into a time of prayer, we're just praying, God, will you give us a heart to serve others? Everyone we see. It doesn't matter where they're from, what they look like, what their job is, what language they speak. Right? It doesn't matter. They are God's people. And God, will you give us a heart to serve everyone? And would you give us a heart to receive service in return? I can't wait to see what God is going to do in and through our lives as each of us step up and say, I want to be involved. I want to serve the people around me. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll catch you soon. Bye for now.